Hi, I'm Jarvis Lewis, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a word splitter in Commodore Basic. This is one of the starting points, or one of the very key ingredients of any adventure type game. And I used to love those Infocom and Magnetic Scrolls adventures, anything where you have to type in something like pick up the axe and go north, and then the computer will tell you stuff. And I always wanted to write one of those, and one of the key components there was how to teach the computer how to split a sentence into individual words so that they can be analyzed. So let's see how we can do that on the Commodore 64. I have my Vice emulator here, but the first thing I'm going to do is hit Ctrl 2 so that I can write in white so we can see the contrast a little bit better. And the other thing I like doing is to switch on the lowercase letters, which happens with the Commodore and the Shift key. Press those two things together. On the Vice emulator, it's the Alt or Command key and the Shift key, and then you will enter into that mode. I just like the font a little bit better. So let's see, we would like, I guess in the first line of our program, we would like to see something like an input. So I will just ask for a string, which all it does is print a question mark and then lets us type something in like pick up the axe and go north. And that's it. So we can then analyze that variable, and that is just exactly what I typed in. So following that, I'd like to head into a subroutine, which will then go through the whole string letter by letter and then analyze, is this thing a space that I've just found, or is it a letter? And in case it is a space, then anything before that needs to be split off into its own variable, and then drop the space, and then keep analyzing and put everything that is not a space into its own little compartmentalized variable. I could go ahead and dimension something like an array, but I doubt we're going to have anything more than 10 words per sentence, so I'm going to leave that out. I'm just going to start in line 100 with the subroutine and call it word splitter. Whoops, nearly there. In line 110, I'm going to start setting up a couple of variables. So on the one hand, I need one that holds the actual word, and on the other I need one that holds the actual letter. So I'm going to call the one that holds the letter LT string, and I'm going to set that to 0, or to nothing, to nothing. I also need something like a counter that tells me how many words we've currently encountered. So perhaps I'm going to call that WD, and I'm going to set that to 1. And I guess that is all I need to get started. In line 120, let's start with the for next loop. So for I equals 1 to the length of our input string, which is a string. So however many characters there are, this is how many times I need to go through this loop, and I will. So in line 130, I'm going to analyze each letter. So LT string will be, in this case, the mid string of my input string, starting at my counter and taking into consideration one digit of the string. So that hence LT string equals mid string of a string, comma I, which is our counter, our letter counter, and to the digit of 1. In line 140, I can say if this letter is in fact a space, then increment my word counter and move on. So I think that's how it works. So let's try this out. If LT string is in fact a space, then I would like to increment my word counter, so WD equals WD plus 1, and I'd like to move on. In line 50, we assume that is not the case. So in line 50, we're going to say if so, in line 40, we were basically at this position, or at this position, or at this position. In line 50, we're going to take, hey, this is a letter. So in that case, we would like that to be added to our current word. And we haven't talked about a variable for that, but I'm going to call that perhaps WD string. So WD string is of course a different variable than WD, and WD string is not a standalone variable. It's going to be one that has the word counter WD in it. So WD string WD would be word 1, word 2, word 3, and so forth. So right now on the first iteration we're still on word 1, so that needs to be WD string WD plus LT string, so that that word actually gets rebuilt letter by letter until a space comes along, and then we're going to quit that operation. So here's what we're going to do with assembling our word. That should be good. In line 160, I think we're done here, and I think we just go next. And in line 199, I'm just going to return from my subroutine. Keep in mind that's just all happening in my head. If this actually works or not, we're going to find out in a minute. So in line, so this is what our code looks like. Line 20, we're going to just ask for an input. In line 30, then we need to go to that subroutine, so gosub 100. And then in line 40, we want to print that all out. So we're going to go and maybe print an empty line, and then we go and say print WD is the word counter, words, and then in line 50 I'm going to go and start going through all the words that we had. So remember, in Commodore Basic all the variables have a global space, so anything that I set up before going into the subroutine is visible by the whole program, no matter which subroutine or which kind of compartmentalized function I'm currently in. Everything is global space, so therefore I can still access the WD variable, and I'm gonna check how many words we actually had. So for I equals 1, 2 WD, in line 60 I'm gonna print each of these out, so print WD string I. In line 70 we go next, and in line 99 we end the program. End is there so that we don't accidentally hit into the subroutine and then encounter a return without gosub error. So that's that. Let's see if this works. If I run the program and I'm being asked for an input, so I can say pick up the axe and go north. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Let's see if it works. 7 words. Look at that on the first take. I'm very impressed. Pick up the axe and go north. That's awesome. That's our word splitter done. I can't believe it. On the first go, do you know how many problems I used to have with writing a routine like that? I am very impressed by myself that this worked flawlessly and without an error. That is phenomenal. It's of course only a very tiny part of an adventure game, but this is one. So let's try another one. Let me try something in German. Wo im Raume raunt die Zeit? It understands German as well. How exciting is that? So in our case, if we were to say, I don't know, look under the kitchen table. 5 words. Fantastic, phenomenal. So I guess our next step then would have to be dropping words that are not actually crucial to the game logic. So things like the, a, an, also things like pick up. So pick would be a synonym of get or take, so up can be dropped. and the computer just needs to understand pick, get, and take as the same thing. Much like look under the kitchen table, that would be the same as examine the kitchen table, so hence under can be dropped as well. So I guess that's what we're going to be dealing with in a future video, like the word dropper routine. This was the word splitter routine. And of course, if you like this video, then go ahead and spread the word, share it with friends, family, and total strangers, and tell everyone on the bus or on the tram that you meet, hey, Jay's written this super exciting listing, which, you know, have another look at it. I'm also going to post it in the description. And of course the accompanying article on my website. So if you liked it, share it with friends, family, and total strangers, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time. Bye bye.